Welcome, everyone, to the Apoco-Larry podcast. I'm Steve. He is...
Herr van Beek. Herr van Beek. Herr van Beek.
Herr van Beek.
Yes. Are we far enough away from the Second World War that I can use the term Herr?
I believe so. You could...
Okay, because that's German for something.
Yeah, I don't think it makes you a Nazi for using
It
Herr.
doesn't make me Elon Musk.
No.
I don't know what Elon Musk was doing, but I've just been hearing about.
Oh gosh.
I've been hearing things. That's all. That's all.
Yes. There's many interesting things going on in this moment of history.
Okay.
Some good, some bad, I hear.
Yeah, I watched. I think it's the Jon Stewart show, but he's the white-haired one.
Yes.
Is he Jon Stewart?
Yep.
And he was like, "So we're angry. We're gonna fight or be angry with Canada, Canada."
Yes.
Right. Our pleasant friends from the north.
Yes. The labradoodle of countries, I think you called it.
The labradoodle of countries. Oh, that was fantastic. I heard a thing once where they said, if you want to think about the Americans' relationship with us, they had an issue with a ship, and I think it was just off either the coast of Washington or somewhere, and there was some fuss about it, and they were worried about it. And he said, and then someone said, "Oh, it's Canadian." And then the whole thing just stopped, and nobody cared anymore. They didn't worry at all. Yeah. Because we've had a good relationship for a long time.
Yes. Yeah. Just as long until you hand us a stick and a puck, we're quite friendly.
Well, they said that we were booing. The Jets were playing Minnesota or something, and they said they were booing them. The Canadians were booing them, and I said, "Aren't most of their players Canadian?" like. There's American players up here, Canadian players down there.
Yeah.
Like that's a tough one to get involved with.
Yeah.
So, oh well. I was in a store and a guy said, "Is that Canadian stuff you're buying?" And I looked and I went, "No, it turns out it's British." I don't know can't remember what I was buying, but it was from England.
Yeah.
And he went, "Oh, I guess that's okay." I said, "Oh, okay."
It's a box of PG Tips tea, man. Like, what else do you want?
Actually, that's what it was. It was the English tea, the something gold tea.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, from England. Yeah. Anyway,
nice.
Anyway. So, and all of this totally relates to what's happening in Samuel's life right now.
Oh, what a great segue this is. So, my friend, we're in the second chapter of Samuel.
We are in the second chapter of Acts, which was a singing group from the 1980s. And it's Hannah's prayer and her song.
Yeah.
And it's really, people tie this prayer. It gets better once you get through the prayer and song. But people tie the prayer to Israel and Israel's life and stuff. But I think some of it, to me, is just her happy that she was given this son.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's jump right in. Verse 1. Then Hannah prayed and said, "My heart rejoices in the Lord. In the Lord my horn is lifted high. My mouth boasts over my enemies, for I delight in your deliverance." Okay,
stop there. When she says my mouth boasts over the enemies, I still feel like that's the other wife.
Mm-hmm.
Was her husband Elkanah? Was that his name? And this is
Elkanah, right? Or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, Elkanah. Yeah, and this is, I think she's talking about the other woman that was treating her so badly.
Yeah.
Now she's had a kid and everything's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Verse 2. There is no one holy like the Lord. There is no one besides you. There is no rock like our God. Do not keep talking so proudly, or let your mouth speak such arrogance. For the Lord is a God who knows, and by him deeds are weighed. The bows of the warriors are broken, but those who stumbled are armed with strength. But those who were full hired themselves out for food. Those who were hungry are hungry no more. She who was barren has borne 7 children, but she who has many sons pines away.
Don't you think that's a kick at the other woman?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. It might be a bigger concept about Israel, but I just think it's more than that.
Yeah, yeah. The Lord brings death and makes alive. He brings down to the grave and raises up. Sends the Lord sends poverty and wealth. He humbles and he exalts. He raises the poor from the dust and lifts the needy from the ash heap. He seats them with princes, and he has them inherit a throne of honor. For the foundations of the earth are the Lord's, and on them he has set the world. He will guard the feet of his faithful servants, but the wicked will be silenced in the place of darkness. It is not by strength that one prevails. Those who oppose the Lord will be broken. The Most High will thunder from heaven. The Lord will judge the ends of the earth. He will give strength to his king and exalt the horn of his anointed.
Yeah, yeah. So she takes it. It's a bigger thing than her, but I still like to think that a lot of it has just to do with Hannah herself.
Mm,
You know that God has given her this thing that she has waited for,
yeah,
and that's kind of where I think it goes. Where's the seven sons thing
that is, where did we go? It is verse 5.
in verse 5? Yeah, that's the. I don't know if she had more sons herself, or if that's just a. But I'm just not sure.
Yeah,
I think it's just a word about the seven being the perfect number,
yeah,
and God's ability to give this. I We'll have to double check and see if she had more children with him. She
yeah,
very well might have.
yeah,
She very well might have. Yeah.
yeah. I don't remember her in the rest of the book. Does she appear in the rest of the book?
No, it gets on to Samuel and his relationship with Eli's wicked sons.
Ah, well then verse 11 would be appropriate.
Yes.
Then
So
Elkanah,
now you remember Eli is the priest,
yeah,
and he's got a couple of sons. I want to say Phineas for some reason. Well, we'll read their names right away, and because every time I say Phineas, I think of that cartoon Phineas and Ferb.
yeah,
You
that's
know,
right.
and I like both of those guys. But his sons were actually, as our version says, these guys were scoundrels.
Yeah, I love
Like,
that.
and Eli's problem was he had no ability to raise his sons.
Mm,
And oddly enough, later on in Samuel's life, is he has the same relationship with his sons.
mm.
So
Okay.
he's a wonderful guy, but he just a useless disciplinarian.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, which is kind of interesting too. But anyway, so now it's Eli's scoundrels' sons that we're
yeah.
talking about.
Verse 11. Then Elkanah went home to Ramah, but the boy ministered before the Lord under Eli the priest. Verse 12. Eli's sons were scoundrels. They had no regard for the Lord. Now it was the practice of the priest that whenever any of the people offered a sacrifice, the priest's servant would come with a three-pronged fork in his hand while the meat was being boiled. They would plunge the fork into the pan or the kettle or the cauldron or pot. Whatever the fork brought up, the priest would take for themselves. This is how they treated all the Israelites who came to Shiloh. But even before the fat was burned, the priest servant would come and say to the person who would sacrifice, saying, give the priest some of the meat to roast. He won't accept boiled meat from you, but only raw.
Yeah, weird, eh?
Yeah,
So the priests actually were being looked after by the people that came there and gave their offerings.
yeah.
And um, they used to say the Jabbok would run red with the blood of the animals that these priests were slaughtering all day long for
Hmm.
everybody.
Hmm.
But one of the things they would do is they could reach into the pot and they could get their supper out of it
Mm,
after the offering had been made. But these guys would come and take it, and they didn't want it this way, so they wanted to cut it out first, which was really improper.
yeah,
So it's not something that we would care about, but it's really improper. God
yeah,
had this way of doing it, and they just weren't doing it that way.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, scoundrels they are.
they are
Uh,
scoundrels.
if the person said to him, let the fat be burned first, and then take whatever you want, the servant would answer, no, hand it over now, and if you don't, I'll take it by force. well,
Yeah,
well, there's that then.
yeah,
This,
and a weird amount of power they have, eh?
yeah, yeah,
But they had their own guys working for them, and
yeah.
you know,
A little racket going there.
yeah,
This
it
sim,
was, it
yeah,
was. it's just horrible.
Yeah.
You know, there used to be a TV show about the Catholic Church, with the priest of the Catholic Church and everything, and just being so corrupt. And these guys are like that, just
Mm-hmm.
so corrupt.
Mm-hmm. The sin of the
And sexually corrupt too, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. The sin of the young men was very great in the Lord's sight, for they were treating the Lord's offering with contempt. But Samuel was ministering before the Lord, a boy wearing a linen ephod. Each year his mother made him a little robe and took it to him when she went up with her husband to offer the annual sacrifice. Eli would bless Elkanah and his wife, saying, "May the Lord give you children by this woman to take the place of the one she prayed for and gave to the Lord." Ah, there we go.
Yeah, there you are.
Then they would go home, and the Lord was gracious to Hannah, and she gave birth to 3 sons and 2 daughters. 7. Ah, I've done the math. Look at me go.
Yeah. Well,
Meanwhile,
that's five.
right.
And then Samuel would be six.
Yeah, yeah. Meanwhile, the boy Samuel grew up in the presence of the Lord. Now Eli,
It's
who was
terrible that I just read this and then couldn't remember whether she had children or not. And
yeah,
I knew she had children. I
it's
knew
fine.
it.
It's fine. It's all good. All good. Now
Yeah.
Eli, who was very old, heard about everything his sons were doing to all Israel and how they slept with the women who served at the entrance to the tent of meeting. So he said to them, "Why do you do such things? I hear from all the people about these wicked deeds of yours. No, my sons, the report I hear spreading among the Lord's people is not good. If one person sins against another, God may mediate for the offender. But if one sins against the Lord, who will intercede for it
Yeah.
for them?" His sons, however, did not listen to their father's rebuke, for it was the Lord's will to put them to death. And the boy Samuel continued to grow in stature and in favor with the Lord and with people.
Yeah, isn't that something? So God gave him a little bit of room, and then that's too much. We're gonna kill them. He's gonna kill them now.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Because who do you go to when you sin against God?
yeah.
There is no mediation. Now we have a mediator in Jesus,
Yeah.
but they didn't have that.
Is this also a like does the New Testament reflect this when it says don't grieve the Holy Spirit? Is that the same sort of
I don't know. Blasphemy against the Holy Spirit they say is the unpardonable sin, and I just grieving the Holy Spirit. Yeah, it's something that happens. We as Pentecostals feel like it's something that happens when you're handling these gifts wrongly, when
mm,
you're just
mm.
doing these things wrong, and that's
Oh, okay.
making him sad.
Okay.
But blasphemy against him is the unpardonable sin. Nobody really knows what it is. Some people say it's just rejecting Jesus,
Mm, mm.
which obviously is unpardonable because you
Yeah.
can't. And others say it's when you turn away from Jesus after you've accepted him. But you got to be careful with that because there's a whole churches that don't believe that you can,
Right.
right? That you can't be taken away from Christ once you've accepted him,
Mm,
right? Which we said was sort of the Calvinist view, but it's broader than that. Um, However, in practicality, when a person has been serving Jesus and turns away, um, the Pentecostals would say, well, they've fallen away, they've left their faith,
mm.
and the others that believe you can't lose your faith would say, well, they were never really Christians.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so we still treat them the same. They're still now outcasts,
Yeah.
but but we have different ways of saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of neat that way. But yeah, these guys just had they had a place because of who their dad was,
Yeah.
but they had no relationship with God,
Yeah. Mm. Verse 27 now.
which is that
Now,
thing everybody says that God has no grandchildren. You must be a child on your own account.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's wise, actually. I'm like, yeah, that's a wise thing to say. Now, a man of God came to Eli and said to him, "This is what the Lord said. Did I not clearly reveal myself to your ancestors' family when they were in Egypt under Pharaoh? I chose your ancestor out of all the tribes of Israel to be my priest, to go up to my altar, to burn incense and to wear an ephod in my presence. I also gave your ancestors' family all the food offerings presented by the Israelites. Why do you scorn my sacrifice and offering that I prescribed for my dwelling? Why do you not honor your sons more than me? Why do you honor your sons more than me? Sorry. Why do you honor your sons more than me by fattening yourselves with the choice parts of every offering made by my people Israel?
Yeah. It's a big price to pay for a steak.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Really, it's, eternal separation and judgment. Or, hey, that ribeye looks pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, at the price of ribeyes these days.
Verse 30. Therefore, the Lord of the the God of Israel declares, I promised that members of your family would minister before me forever. But now the Lord declares, far be it from me. Those who will honor me I will honor, but those who despise me will be disdained. The time is coming when I will cut short your strength and the strength of your priestly house, so that no one in it will reach old age. You will see distress in my dwelling. And although good will be done to Israel, no one in your family will ever reach old age. Every one of you I do not cut off from serving at my altar. I will only spare to destroy your sight and sap your strength, and all your descendants will die in the prime of life.
Yeah. Very. The response is very, very harsh. Um, but Eli was given a lot, and of course he said, "Oh, okay." He just accepts it.
Yeah,
Yeah. And there's their names, Hophni and Phineas.
there we go.
Yeah.
And what happens to your two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, will be assigned to you. They will both die on the same day. I will raise up for myself a faithful priest who will do according to what is my heart and mind. I will firmly establish his priestly house, and they will minister before me, before my anointed one always.
Yeah. Yeah. And the trick here um, is that this may not be pointing to Samuel.
Mm,
This may be pointing to someone else. That's why in that some say Samuel was a priest, but Samuel did not come from a priestly family. But if you read Chronicles, it does say that I think that he was a priest.
okay.
So it's a bit of a tough one, but this might be pointing to somebody else. And I want to say Zadok.
Mm,
So I will. So I
that's
will
it.
say Zadok, that it might be pointing to him. But some would say no, no, this is pointing to Samuel.
Yeah. Verse 36. Then everyone left in your family will come and bow down before him for a piece of silver and a loaf of bread and plead, appoint me to some priestly office so I can have food to eat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Even in my note it says that. Yeah. So basically, this is the destruction of Eli's household. Now this bothers people greatly
Mm,
because she took that little boy. What do we figure? We figure somewhere between 2.5, 3, and 4 years old, and gave him to these guys. And these guys are horrible people.
yeah,
And Eli was probably not a bad guy. He was just couldn't control his sons.
yeah,
So so this is where she puts him, and he does very well
yeah.
because of the grace of God.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a crazy story, isn't it?
It really
Yeah,
is. And yet, at the same time, this is how God chose to deal with his nation and especially this line of priests.
yep, yeah. And Hophni and Phineas just were, well, as he says, scoundrels.
Yeah. What a great rendition in the NIV, eh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Is this NIV? I thought we were
This is
doing NESV.
no, this is
Or,
NIV.
oh, ESV, right? We used to do ESV.
Yeah,
No, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. So this is the beginning of the moving away and from Eli's family. It's Eli's still around for a while, but
right.
uh, but they both die on the same day. Isn't that something?
Mm, hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So there you go.
Well, thank you for this, my friend.
Yeah,
There we've got the story of Samuel's childhood, and then a judgment that has been pronounced on Eli's family. And then next week we'll get to see how this turns out.
yeah. And I can't remember. I think next week. I'm pretty sure Samuel was about 12 years old in the next time we see him, but I'm not 100% sure. But I want to say 12. Yeah. Oh, Josephus places his age at 12 years old. Well, if Josephus knew, then maybe that's okay.
Yeah, let's go with
Yeah.
Josephus on this.
Yeah, I was always told he was about 12. And
Right.
so,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I don't know how to bring this to today.
It's just a story about Samuel. Well,
yeah, we'll leave it at that. I don't want to tie this to our lives because sometimes we're not the best of people either.
That's right. Have you considered your servants, Larry and Steve?
Yeah, morons, both of them. Just
No,
morons.
I've never considered them once. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, Steve, thanks.
Thank you, my friend. Folks, as always, we are so excited that we've had you here with us. We so enjoy doing this for you. This kind of sets the table for the third chapter of 1 Samuel and the story of God calling Samuel to the priesthood. So until next time, I was Steve, he was Larry, and this was the Apoco-Larry podcast.